나와 신나는 게 또 신나 샤바와키 신나무 기그라니 짜이 샤바기라니 짜이 뭐 기그라니
Yes, the links are
America is great because America is good.
Yep, those ladies are rushing because they're going to see their boyfriend, Robbie. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Rudowski here of thebestpoliticalshow.com, and we are going to be live for the next 2 hours, hopefully, discussing all the latest and craziest news developing right now, as of course there never is a shortage of things to talk about this year, especially this election cycle, as there's a lot of wild news, specifically coming from the Atlantic, who based off their entire story on anonymous sources. People seem to be losing it with Trump, and it's only going to get crazier from here as Bill Gates has also entered the race. While the government is looking to go after Elon Musk, the borders might soon be wide open, and of course, there's witches trying to put a hex on Donald Trump that are frustrated because they're reporting how he has some kind of aura of protection. Yes, that's exactly what we are going to be discussing for the next 2 hours. So please share this broadcast with your friends and family members. It really does mean a lot to us. If you tell enough people, that 34% behind me will go to 100%, and maybe someday we will be able to see the magical image that is supposed to be portrayed behind me. You might see it here on this show if you share enough of the broadcast and the URL right now with the general public. It might just pop up there, as of course we appreciate your viewership and we try to give back to you guys as much as we can, and we do that through LukeUnfiltered.com. We do a lot of contests, we do a lot of giveaways, we do meetups, we do nature hikes, and most importantly, through your membership, you not only support us and keep us independent, but more importantly, you're allowed to, of course, call into the show and be a part of the conversation. You could call in today, you could be a part of the show, you could tell the world whatever you want through us just by signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. So far, the people who have called in haven't ruined it for anybody else. And the people who have called in were absolutely awesome human beings. So if you haven't signed up yet and joined our larger community, sign up right now. It really does mean a lot to us. Plus, first-time callers also get free supplements on wearechange.shop. We've got a lot of great products for you available there, including some really funny ones that will probably trigger your leftist neighbors. We will be doing our best to read any and all super chats, but we will prioritize the Streamlabs chats that only takes a 3% service charge rather than a YouTube 30% service charge. So we appreciate your participation. Our guest today is a little bit late because he's leaving the Patrick Bet David studio. It is South Florida. There's a lot of traffic, and Mike Benz will be with us in about 20 minutes from now. So Mike is not here, but Lauren De Laguna is. Lauren?
Hi, my name is actually Lauren Hayden.
Lauren De Laguna, everybody.
No, it is.
Lauren.
Hi, Lauren De Laguna.
Lauren De Laguna is in the house.
Hey,
Who are you,
everyone.
Lauren, for the people who don't know you?
Oh, apparently, well, you don't know me because my name is Lauren Hayden. And I have a show called The De Laguna Show with Lauren Hayden. And yeah, I am an attorney and licensed out in Arizona, soon to be licensed in Florida. So, yeah, and I am an avid watcher of the show.
Yep, good to have you here. You got a little pup there, too?
I do. This is Hugo Boss.
Atlas's friend.
No, him and Atlas, unfortunately, don't get along.
They get along fine. There's one incident, but other than that,
Atlas stepped on him.
They're
Atlas,
like getting.
body
She's
slams
like 10
him.
times the size of him.
I know. That's why he's scared of her now.
Well, he'll get used to her. Right, Robbie? Robbie's used to situations like that.
Yo.
Robbie Man in the house here as well.
Yo, how's everyone doing? I'm looking forward to the calls. They were wonderful yesterday. Today, please call in. I love all you. I want to hear your voices. I want to make America healthy again. I'm doing interviews on the streets. I'm releasing them. It's on my Instagram. It's on my Twitter. Robbie Man, the Robbie Man on Twitter. Robbie Man on Instagram. I'm proud of Lauren Hayden becoming a lawyer.
De Laguna.
De Laguna. Stephanie. We got a really wonderful group here. Mike's about to show up. I mean, Stephanie is just a little angel from heaven, and Luke's leading the charge. So let's go. I mean, I think it's gonna be an exciting show.
Yeah, we're trying out Robbie as a co-host here. He got excited by that
Yeah.
occasion. And we're going to be doing interviews on the streets soon here in Miami. And it's good to have you here. He's staying in the guest room, and we're
He has me actually in the backyard. I'm living in a teepee. So
That sounds nice, though.
we'll make Luke look good. I'm staying in the master bedroom.
Yeah, and we dug a hole in the backyard for him to use as a restroom, and
Compost toilet.
So far it's going all right, right?
Yeah, the vanilla spray is good for the mosquitoes at night. No chemicals, spraying
There you go.
over my body.
Yep.
Only got a couple bites last night.
Vanilla extract.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
good.
great. We
Really
recommend that. Don't buy the poison from the store. You go get the vanilla extract sprayed on you.
That is genuinely what Luke uses. Is that
yeah.
Yes,
you know
no,
that?
I'm being honest.
It's
I'm not
so
lying.
weird.
Yeah.
It does work though.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
1
don't
million
use the poison.
%.
Yeah, stop using poison. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, grab the mic a little bit closer.
We had an ant problem temporarily at our old apartment, and so I asked Luke for a different home remedy after he gave me the vanilla remedy. And his remedy was like, "Oh, just sprinkle sugar everywhere." And then
It wasn't sugar. I didn't say
you
sugar.
did say sugar,
Stop
and
it.
then an hour later,
I
you're
don't
like,
think that
"Oh,
works."
I meant cinnamon. I meant cinnamon."
Cinnamon, yes.
But he said sugar originally.
I like I do like to troll Lauren as much as I can. So
He
that
does.
probably is the truth, honestly. Lauren really likes dog treats too. So
They're
from
delicious.
positive.com/Luke, 15% off.
You can
Lauren
call
likes
in
them as
later
well.
and donate to a call, and we can feed Lauren for you if you'd like.
Yeah. We should do a kibble donation bar. That the more we donate, it goes through a certain threshold, and then
Then I'll eat
Lauren
a
gets her
dog
treats.
treat.
Yes,
Awesome.
that sounds great.
Please, nobody
great.
donate to this man.
And if you're looking for some pro bono work, Lauren is the person to talk to. She is ready to do. I'm sure you guys need cases out there. She's ready to work. Give her a call.
Hey, business is going to be booming if Kamala becomes president of the United
Very
States.
true,
There's going to
very
be a lot of
true.
people that are going to need lawyers after that. So there's
That's
that.
true.
So
Exciting.
we got that to look forward to, right, Steph?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty great. This is Steph We Are Change on Instagram and Steph WRC on X. I'm super excited for Mike Benz to get in the house.
Yeah, I like Mike because he literally just takes away the subject and just starts speaking over everyone, and I get to relax a little bit, which is nice, and I enjoy that a lot. I like people who come on the show and actually, kind of talk a lot. He's definitely a big talker, and he has a lot of really interesting information, specifically around the second Trump assassin that he's going to be getting into, specifically on the show, and his larger connections to, the intelligentsia, the deep state, as of course another organization connected to the intelligentsia and the deep state is of course the Atlantic, that released an article that all of the corporate media is now regurgitating, and that is Trump allegedly, according to two anonymous sources, said allegedly that he really likes the generals that the guy with the funny mustache from Germany in 1930 had.
Oh, no
That's
way.
that's the comment. Again, unverified sources. We had John Kelly, former member of Trump's administration, also come out and issue similar statements. And the corporate media is running with Donald Trump is the resurgence of this guy with the funny mustache from the 1930s. And it's going to be the resurgence of the fascistic government here within the United States, which is an absolutely ridiculous, hyperbolic argument to make. I made my main video about this today, and I specifically argued this is not only reckless, but dangerous rhetoric that's going to, of course, send a lot of emotionally unstable people over the edge. And I think really what the corporate media is doing here, they're not just playing with fire, they're adding fuel to it. And America is already severely divided. This type of reporting isn't really helping anyone.
I wonder why there's so many assassination attempts on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if some dude's in his mother's basement playing video games, eating Cheetos, you think that maybe he smokes a couple joints, he watches it, he's gonna believe it, and maybe he's gonna want to be the next attempted assassin. We got to protect. That's really messed up. They're doing that. I think they're desperate. It's pretty apparent. They see the polls and they're desperate at this point because I don't think Kelly's even with him. I think that's insane. The dude's like pretty respected in the Jewish community. It doesn't add up in my.
Yeah, exactly. What I was going to say too is Jewish people, especially super non-religious Jewish people have been stereotypically Democrat for a very long time. Like, for instance, my grandma, she's a Holocaust survivor, and she always votes Democrat. She watches CNN, she listens to NPR, super Democrat. She's voting for Trump, and a lot of Democrats feel that way this time, or not Democrats. A lot of Jewish people feel that way this time around, especially with how the Democrats have handled the Israel-Palestine situation, the way the AOCs of that group have treated Jews in recent years. And they feel like the Democrat Party has become extremely anti-Semitic. Fortunately, they're not seeing the conservative right on Twitter.
Now there is a faction of the right that is echoing a lot of these 1930s sentiments, especially against Jewish people.
Yeah.
But it's also important to note those people and the people cheerleading those kind of ideologies online are telling people not to vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
Like,
So you have
they're hyper criticizing, and they're saying this guy's too pro-Israel. This guy, we cannot support him. Don't vote for him. I think it was Nick Fuentes and the Groypers that are literally trying to launch entire campaigns where they send people to swing states to make sure that they don't vote for Donald Trump.
It's Fuentes, Sneeko, Jake Shields, all of those people.
Did they all pledge not to vote for Donald Trump?
I didn't. I don't really listen to
I think
any
it was
of
only
them.
Fuentes that I saw. I don't know about the other ones.
I think it was Fuentes
but
that I've seen.
Shapiro made a post about it. He was like, how he's voting for Trump and how other factions of the right are not, like Fuentes. He had mentioned him.
But they're such a small fraction, and even though they make up like a large part of social media and Twitter, they just aren't really taken seriously, I don't think, by anyone above the age of 18. Like,
it's a last-ditch effort by the Democrats. I just think they're seeing what's going on here. They're seeing that they're losing support in the black community. They're seeing they're losing support everywhere. I was in New York City interviewing all races, all genders. I interviewed Jews. I interviewed a lot of them were supportive of Trump, which is, like you said before, Democrats usually Jewish Democrat would usually support Democrats in the past. And I think things are changing now because Kamala panders. One day she'll say she wants to ceasefire. The next day she'll say she wants to give money to Lebanon, and she seems like she's just trying to pander to whoever will vote for her.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely does seem like a lot of people are losing their minds. There's a Ring video that's being circulated around by a lot of people on social media, just highlighting some of this alleged Trump derangement syndrome. Now, it's also important to note here, we're in an election year. There's a lot of fakes out there. I haven't independently verified this. It does seem legitimate, but take every video you see during this kind of crazy last 2 weeks with a grain of salt. But this is the video that is being shared around a lot of right-wing circles, highlighting the Trump derangement syndrome.
Hi. I want to know how you can vote.
We can't answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
Shameful.
Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people?
No, I haven't walked by recently.
Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that?
What?
No.
Why are you voting for him?
Because I believe he is the moral candidate.
Oh, my God. F you for that one.
That's
Moral?
That's how your side acts.
Oh, my God.
That's
He's
how
the
you
most
guys-
immoral person around.
In your opinion, that's
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Have a
She's
nice
got
day.
a big case of
have a nice
TDS.
day.
And PMS.
God bless you.
It's actually really sad because the girl seems like she's watching the news all day and she is believing everything she's been told, and she's not realizing that he's got Bobby Kennedy who's going to make America healthy again. We have 1,000 ingredients that are banned in Europe that he's trying to change. They're in our foods and our children's food here, and they're not. The news isn't reporting that. They're just saying he's Hitler, and it's really bad to get these people like this. They're very unhinged.
Well, how would you respond to an unhinged
I'd give her a hug.
person?
I'd give her a hug.
No.
I'd give her. I met her.
What would be the more effective?
I met a supporter in New York the other day. My friend's like, "You're a moron."
Robbie's going to be in HR.
I gave
Why
her a
did you
hug.
harass
She's
this
texting me
woman
right
and
now.
grab
I'm telling her to vote for
inappropriately?
Trump. She wanted to vote for Kamala as a black woman. I met on the street in New York, and she's literally texting me back and forth because my other friend was like, "You're a moron," and I was like, "No, I love you, but hear me out. Like, make America healthy again. Like, this is different this time. The Unity Party. It is different. You know, Trump's not a normal Republican." So I think there are something we've never experienced before.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that people should have discussions about it, because the first thing the lady says inside the house is she accuses the old lady. Are you the lady that's screaming everywhere? Like, yeah, But are you really scared of that old lady? Like, is she really going to hurt you? Like, maybe invite her in, have a seat, make a tea, have a conversation, agree to disagree. But, like, I don't know. I think this lady knew what she was doing with the video, too. I don't think she made any effort to actually talk to her neighbor.
Yeah, the mental illness is real. It's severe. And I think one of the biggest causes of mental illness right now is the corporate media. I think that's a legitimate argument to make. You look at the coverage that they had of Donald Trump after 2 people tried to take his life. Overwhelmingly, a huge percentage of it was negative. How can you trash someone who almost lost their life recently? It's not just immoral, but it just shows you to the true nature of this larger kind of enterprise that is losing legitimacy at record levels. And they deserve to lose this legitimacy. They deserve to lose their viewers. Independent media is taking their lunch gladly. Good. They deserve to be absolutely obliterated by independent media that, of course, does their job that much better and provides a unique perspective here. Now, again, there's other people in independent media that take it, in my opinion, too far. And they worship people, and they never criticize them. We try to do. We don't do that here. We try to talk as honestly and as frank as we can here. And sadly, a lot of the discourse is missing a lot of that real kind of conversation.
The liberal media does an excellent job at preying on lower IQ people and preying on weaker-minded people to get them in their cult. It's really apparent. I think Nicole Shanahan did a really beautiful commercial. Did you guys see the TDS commercial by Nicole?
No.
You didn't? Oh, gosh. I got to send it to you right now.
Yeah, send it to me. We'll play it right now.
Oh, it's incredible. Okay.
And go ahead, Delon.
Yeah, just with when it comes to that lady, like there's certain people that you probably can convince if you take the time to consider at least the conservative point of view, or maybe even persuade them to switch sides, like my grandma. However, when you're that far gone, I don't think that there's anything you could do to. I don't think bringing her in to talk to her, I don't think bringing her in for a hug, I think that'll just upset her more. There's people that are just insane, and you...
Yeah, but people need to be loved, because that lady on the street, she was fighting with this girl that I know that I had met, and she was calling her more, and I was like, as soon as I came from a place of love, she was receptive. She's texting me. I think if you be divisive, it doesn't solve things, though.
I don't think that you should necessarily be divisive. My dad has a saying, never fight with ugly or crazy, because they have nothing to lose. And I feel wholeheartedly about some people are just too far gone. Like, maybe treat
there
them
are a
with
lot of goners,
love.
I admit that, but some people can be saved. I don't think everyone's a goner. I think certain people can be saved.
That lady was a goner.
She might be a goner, but we have to give her a chance before we
you can tell.
No, older people are stuck in their ways, and they never kind of...
They are stubborn. I agree.
And they're a lot more stubborn than, of course, younger people that are more manualable. And that's why, the Rockefeller education system takes kids when they're very young and indoctrinates them into becoming slaves and statists. But that's just my...
TDS is real. I did send the video over to you. If you
I
want to
absolutely agree. We have this video right now from Nicole Shanahan.
Suffering from illnesses such as TDS, also known as Trump derangement syndrome? Do you dismiss or deny the current issues facing our country, such as historic inflation, illegal immigration, corporate corruption, World War III escalations, and the chronic disease epidemic? Are you willing to elect someone who was the least popular vice president in modern history, and who offers no policy or vision for America, simply because your brain keeps telling you anyone but Trump? If so, you might be struggling from TDS.
It's brilliant.
Introducing Independence. Independence allows you the freedom to finally think independently once again. Instead of believing everything you hear from the mainstream media, Independence allows for constructive...
It's really funny. Me and Tim Pool made a similar video like this when Barack Obama was going after Mitt Romney during that election cycle. And we made a very similar video. I want to pull it up. I'm going to do my best to find it, because it was almost the same exact thing, but with a lot more of a crappier production that was done in a more crude kind of
I was a sucker.
fashion.
I voted for Barack Obama. I campaigned for him.
Did you really?
Change you can believe in. Yeah, I was a sucker. I drank the Kool-Aid. And that's why I'm so excited now for Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk. That's why it blows me. I talked to liberal friends of mine. I'm like, Dick Cheney supports your party. He was like the most war-hungry vice president of all time. And they're like, they just TDS all day. They just still want to vote for nothing you can say will change them. They're goners, like you said.
Yeah, I mean... But you didn't necessarily... Do you, not have a party affiliation? Or you do have a party affiliation?
I'm an independent. I support this party for sure, the Trump-Elon Vivek, Tulsi, RFK this time, but I did vote Democrat in my past.
Holy cow. This video's from 11 years ago with me and the Beanie Man.
Must have a comprehensive strategy to help reject this.
Are you feeling sick and depressed hearing about Barack Obama and Mitt Romney? You may have a case of RTPDS, or restless two-party delusion syndrome.
Look, I know that Romney and Obama are both evil, but Romney's going to be way worse. Vote for Obama, we'll be better.
Do you get headaches, feel tired, ill, have upset stomach, or irritable bowel syndrome when having your friends or loved ones telling you to vote for the lesser of two evils?
That's when he lived in Bed-Stuy, right?
Okay. I mean, I know that Mitt Romney's policies are pretty much the same as Obama's, but look, we just can't have another 4 years of Obama.
Being manipulated into believing that there's only two choices this election hurts in so many ways.
I've never seen this.
If you're going through any of these horrible symptoms, it's time to consult the internet about TPPC, or third-party presidential candidates.
I wonder if secretly Nicole saw your video.
No, it's an ongoing kind of skit, and it's there's more highbrow humor here, as you can see here. We are Change. We definitely are known for our class.
I see you have a picture.
In clinical studies, possible side effects of TPPC include end of the war on drugs, labeling of GMO foods, stopping foreign wars of aggression, end of corporate bank welfare, the repeal of the NEA government-spying Patriot Act, and the definition rates.
Do not take TPPC with the mainstream media.
So that's the old school videos.
That's great.
For me and the Beanie Man all the way back then, essentially describing sort of the similar situation that unfolded here. So
that was beautiful.
That's a flashback. But now the situation's a little bit different, I would say. It's not just a two-party system, but it's a system that is kind of collapsing in on itself.
I think the parties have flipped.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. The same thing that the Democrats previously stood for, now the Republicans stand for. Free speech, anti-war, civil liberties. That's something that they used to cheerlead. That's something that they used to stand behind. And now they're literally trampling it with support of all the major corporations out there that they previously held their fist against.
And a lot of the things that Democrats were warning conservatives about, such as the Patriot Act, and conservatives being like, "Oh, that would never be used against Americans," are now being used specifically against conservatives. And there's so many things that conservatives were rallying and trust the government. And of course, they're going to handle it properly. That it's now come back and bit us in the booty. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
they've lied to the people. They've done a good job of making it seem like they're against censorship. They're pro-censorship, the Democratic Party. They're pro-war. I'm telling people this all the time. They don't understand. Trump had no new wars, and you got to give credit where it's due. People got to get over their egos and get unprogrammed. It's really sad. We got to make the world a better place.
It's so weird.
Make America healthy again.
It's so weird as our ideals have kind of flip-flopped. We also see those in power, for instance, the military has always been considered a kind of conservative area. A lot of the people who join the military are conservative, but the heads of the military are extremely liberal. You look at the FBI, CIA, once ran by conservatives and used by conservative presidents to attack Democrats, are now liberal and used to attack conservatives. I don't know if the IRS was ever conservative, but if it was, I'm sure it attacked Democrats, but currently it is absolutely
the military-industrial complex.
Well, Obama's known for using the IRS to go after right-wingers.
Absolutely. So but I don't know if conservatives ever had power over the IRS, unfortunately. But everything else has
I think people should come together and both sides of the party and how about abolish the IRS? Why don't Republicans, Democrats, whites, blacks go on a march instead of all this divisive marches? How about they do a march for something like that?
I mean, it would be amazing to get rid of income tax, federal income tax. That would be unbelievable. In fact, that's actually, sovereign citizens do you know what a sovereign citizen is?
Yes.
A lot of them believe that's actually where the government overstepped its rights and therefore no longer had the rights over them, because with federal income tax, that's the violation of the Constitution that has never been walked back.
Well, we had the third assassin on that was accused of being a sovereign citizen last week.
Van Miller.
He called in, Van Miller.
Wow.
And now he's releasing his body cam video footage of the incident, which kind of proves the police officers were lying through their teeth in a very kind of insane way. Yeah,
What's
authority
crazy,
figures lying. Who would have thought?
With them, I think I told you I was at Rescue the Republic and I was doing press there, and I met him, not even knowing. And then I was like, wait, I have this guy's number in my phone. I'd messaged you. I talked to him for like an hour. I was like, this guy's a cool guy. And I was, this guy's not an assassin. And so it's interesting that he's coming out with that now, because I knew intuitively he wasn't. He was just like a reporter. He was like a reporter dude. He's just like a pro-Trump guy.
Is he actually a sovereign citizen, though?
He never mentioned that to me. But
Well, sovereign citizens don't refer to themselves as sovereign citizens.
He mentioned that. He said he made the argument, but that you're just going to describe here. But let's not deviate a little bit too far from the conversation. Mike is going to be here in a few minutes, so let's get all the zany kind of topics out of the way. And of course, the biggest one is that now witches are complaining that they cannot cast a spell on Donald Trump because, quote, he has some kind of protection around him. They're screaming on Reddit. Reddit is a far leftist website now. It used to be a website that was pretty good. I used to like Reddit, but right now it's just full, all-out state intelligentsia run propaganda out there. But this is the specific Reddit post with them describing some kind of protection around him that is preventing their spells from working against him. This is specifically on the subreddit called Witches versus Patriarchy, of course. What else they would be called here? As the witches are saying, hey, we're not having any effect here. There's something going on here. We now need to cast a spell against Project 2025, which will be pointless because it's the Heritage Foundation policy that is not even connected to Donald Trump. But they are now sending their juju and their energies against Project 2025, as well as trying to cast protection and success spells for Kamala Harris. Yes, you heard that correctly. They are now trying to get Kamala Harris in office through the casting of spells. What do you guys make of this? Since, of course, a lot of this is kind of zany, a lot of it is kind of out there, but a lot of people are saying, hey, some witches are doing this on Reddit, but let's be honest here. Some of the spirit cookers are probably doing this in Washington, D.C. too.
Well, go ahead.
the spirit world is real to me. I think that there's a battle versus good versus evil going on. I think after the second assassination attempt, when you watched his head move, to me, it seemed like he was protected. There was a reason he was alive. He could have easily been dead right now. We wouldn't be having this conversation. I think the world would be a different place. It's really interesting stuff that witches would want to get Kamala elected. These are not my type of witches. I think there's got to be some good witches out there who are on the opposite side. Are there any good witches out there?
Robbie always looks for his witches on Tinder.
You could believe in like the spirit world without believing in every type of spirit. Like, for instance, you could be Christian and you could believe in angels and you could believe in demons without having to necessarily believe that witches exist. So I don't.
Well, I know some witches.
Well, I know Xena the Witcher. That's the only.
They cast spells. I'm in the spiritual community in LA.
Does
There
your friend Xena cast spells?
I think she thinks she does. Yeah, I believe she thinks she does.
What kind of spells is she casting?
They would be pro-Trump spells if they're political at all. She's definitely pro-Trump, but yeah, and anti-Jew. But she loves this Jew. So
I'm not into witchcraft. I'm anti-witchcraft, but I've met witches and I've met people who've told me they claim that if they do something good, it's okay. If they do something bad, the karma comes back to them. I don't know what is true or what isn't, but I don't think you can just cast spells and wish harm upon someone and not have something bad come back to you if you're into that kind of stuff.
I mean, like I if anything, I'm more of like a biblical sense of spirituality, like where I believe maybe demons exist and you could be possessed somehow, or you could have like evil around you. But I don't think that people can like declare themselves like a witch, or like there's that religious. What is that religious group? The Wiccans?
Wiccans? There's a lot of witches out there.
And they're witches.
They're just not in your circle, but there are a lot because they're not my. I mean, I just have met some over the years.
And you believe them? Like they can cast a spell?
They've been very confident when they've told me. I don't know.
Do they ride broomsticks?
I'm not for it.
If they say Avada Kedavra, are you gone? Like, can they do a Guardian Winosa? Like, I don't. Like, do they have wands?
There are people into voodoo. There are people into witchcraft. There's people doing all kinds of weird stuff around the world. If you're not in that circle, then maybe you weren't exposed to it. I don't want to be exposed to it. It's not something I resonate with. I like really positive energy and love and light. I like angels. Angels are protecting me. I love angels. But witchcraft's not my thing, and I just think that. But there are people doing it, as we see in the story, right?
I think there's people who believe that they're doing it.
You don't think that that anyone there's any.
They
truth.
identify as witches after switching from furries.
Right, exactly. They like playing make believe, and there's like a whole movement even on TikTok of people.
Are there any witches that can write in right now and?
But they would
Lauren.
they would believe that they're witches. And I'm like, okay, that person believes they're a witch. There's a whole movement on TikTok of people who believe that like they go to sleep and they wake up and then they talk about, oh my God, I was actually at Hogwarts for 8 years and I had like a time portal.
That's a dream.
People believe that though. They genuinely, and then there's like a whole community on TikTok of people talking about how they were a witch at Hogwarts for 8 years. And when they awoke, like they came back to this
I met a
realm.
person who claimed to be a breatharian who says they don't eat or drink. So I think there's people that think they can do anything out in the world.
Those guys sneak off snacks in the bathroom when no one's paying attention.
The girl did come clean with me later that she was drinking juice. So
Wait, are you talking about the Barbie girl?
breatharian? No, breatharian. I met at this festival many years ago. Her name is Atlantis. She's like, I'm a breatharian. I just live off the breath of the air, the sun and the air. I stare. She's like sun gazing and staring, and just breathing. I'm like, you don't eat or drink. I was just like in shock.
Photosynthesis.
And then she later admitted to me that she does drink green juice secretly. But she claims to know a guy in Bali who's been 29 years without any food or water. I don't.
Yeah, until they go to the bathroom and sneak in a snack while no one's looking.
Is she super skinny? Like wildly
She
skinny?
wasn't anorexic. She was skinny, but she wasn't like where you'd be like, whoa, this is unhealthy.
Hey,
Really?
hey,
Then
these witches, man. Can't be trusting the witches. But a lot of people are bringing up the larger religious aspect to all of this. As I think there's been a major decline in religion. I think it's going up in 2024 with just how absolutely crazy, awful, and insane this year has been. A lot of people are saying, you know what, maybe religion does make sense to me rather than this kind of larger godless and degenerate pushed on society by all these weird predators out there that are singing all these degenerate tunes. Looks like we got our main guest and the host.
Pizza delivery. Look at this pizza delivery. Hey, we got a pizza delivery guy here. How you doing?
Guys, he's a
Robbie.
Make sure to tip him. Make sure to tip our pizza guy.
He's a pineapple on pizza guy.
We got you a bunch of snacks too. And we hooked you up there with some water, some snacks. Feel free to grab some pizza as well. Always good to see you, Mike, here, as of course we are having a very interesting conversation. Steph, as Mike gets settled, let's read off some of the super chats.
All right. Well, we got some super chats here. Let me find them. The first one is from Red Viking saying, Tim said Luke is hiding Happy Meals under his desk.
Liar! Fake news, propagandist. I was watching that news segment and I went off in the chat room. I always go off. I always like to troll them. But he made... I'm going to talk with lawyers now, all right? This is serious.
Hello.
But we got Lauren here, the lawyer. Listen, Beanie Man, those are fighting words, all right? Do you want me to tell everyone what you're hiding underneath that beanie? You don't want that smoke, okay? He made a reference saying Luke's against seed oils, but he secretly eats Big Macs. Liar! Lies!
I can vouch
How
for
dare
Luke.
you?
I can vouch for you, Luke. We have Robbie's classy pride hole. Oh, Robbie's going to get the happy We Are Change welcoming from our favorite subscribers and members. So this is for you, Robbie. Hola, amigos. Sorry, guys. I've been out for a couple of weeks. Look like Robbie is inheriting Clint's name now.
Wow, I never have been called Clint, but I like it.
We got some more for you, Robbie. We have. Oh, I saw a video here that I was interested for you from Finboy Slick, but I'm not seeing it on the chat right now for some reason, Luke.
Yeah, our producer, if you can, find that on Rumble in the chat and then send it to us. But there's another super chat.
Sin Shady saying conservative Wiccans for Trump. Heart emoji. Also, not all witches are the bad Hollywood stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. There's good and bad witches. I've met these people. They've told me this. There's ones that do the white magic and the black magic. I'm just not familiar with all of it.
So if a woman tells you she's a man, are you just going to believe that?
Hell no.
Okay, so then why are you going to believe a woman who tells you she's a witch is a witch? Like actually so much more improbable.
It's a little different. Gender over someone claiming
Over
because
being mystical
witchcraft is a real
character? Are
thing.
you
There is
kidding me?
witchcraft. If you look it up, that witchcraft is real. Mikey, are you familiar with witchcraft?
Mike, first
Don't
of all,
throw
welcome
Mike
on the
into
show.
this.
Do you need a plate? I know you're hungry. We got a bunch of
I know,
snacks. You
I'm
got
like
some
eyeing this
biltong.
thing.
Feel free
Here,
to
have the
snack
biltong.
on. But before you snack on,
I'm saving myself.
who are you and
For
how?
marriage?
Yes. We're going to
Mike,
consummate this.
who are you and how would you introduce yourself?
I'm a random pizza delivery man, just trying to restore Pizza Hut nationalism to this
I love
great
that.
country.
Does the pizza have seed oils?
I don't know. Does Pizza Hut? If it does currently,
Is it Pizza Hut?
It is Pizza Hut.
Oh my goodness,
It
Mike!
is.
Mike, you got to leave.
I had to do.
I'm
I had
sorry.
to- it's the
Listen, we
meme.
got to cancel you right
We're
now.
gonna make it.
Listen.
Listen.
How dare you
How much
bring-
are they paying you for the sponsorship?
Pizza Hut is like the defining act of like retail franchise American capitalist empire building. Have you guys
Like
ever
McDonald's.
seen? You ever seen like the Khrushchev ad? I think, or was it Gorbachev?
It was
The
McDonald's though.
No, the Pizza Hut ad.
Oh.
There's a Pizza Hut ad right after we won the Cold War, and we were putting Russia through shock therapy. We were privatizing trillions of dollars of Soviet-owned public wealth and turning it over to George Soros and Bill Browder and these other like vulture capitalist firms. And one of the ways that we were like publicly justifying this is like we were bringing American capitalism to Russia. And so I think, was it Gorbachev like starred in a Pizza Hut ad, and it was two Russians talking to each other about like, you know, how they were uncertain about like how the future was going to be in this new Russia, this new capitalist Russia. And then they look around and they see that they're actually like in a Pizza Hut, and then Gorbachev comes in or something and is like, you know, this is basically the key to making Russia great again.
Wow.
Pizza Hut is the key to making Russia great again?
Well,
Was it
I
tearing
don't
down
think.
the
Let's be
wall?
honest here. With their reproduction levels and alcoholism, I don't think it worked. To be fair,
Putin,
But it was an
if you're
export
watching,
market.
we have someone you can sponsor for Pizza Hut in Russia.
yeah, I don't think that's gonna. No, I don't think that's gonna work, Robbie.
No.
I
It's the
think that
opposite.
might backfire.
No. This
Yeah.
is a covert clandestine black ops operation in order to wrest soft power control over Russia through.
Now the media is going to come out and
pizza.
say you're a Russian agent.
No, now they're going to say that I'm a patriotic CIA spy trying to infiltrate Russia through Pizza Hut nationalism.
Now there's conversations about the Russians spreading fake news against Tim Waltz. I don't know if you saw the story going around a few weeks ago. I didn't fall for it, but a lot of other people were kind of falling for it a little bit, talking about some very serious accusations.
This is the
I was
black insurrectionist account.
and
What
I'm like,
gave it away?
I know. Like an anonymous account. Like, hey guys, we got to be better than the Atlantic here. We can't base our stories based off anonymous sources that have no backing at all. We were talking about this story. This is the major story right now that the
gave
media
his
is
source.
buzzing about right now. But again, I didn't fall for it because again, there was no source, there was no evidence. It was just hearsay. I had a huge conversation with Robbie about this when we were at the gym today, and Robbie was saying, "Oh, this happened and this happened." I'm like, "We got to fact check this because
There's a lot of
so
fake
much
news,
disinformation.
but
There's
the
so
whole-
much fake
If
news
you go
out
on
there. It's
Kamala's
crazy.
account, it's all fake news though on Twitter. Like literally every story is literally fake.
Yeah.
So it's like sure, there's a lot of things that are online. You see the Tim Walz pedo thing. I of course I'm like you know there's probably not true because it just doesn't seem. It doesn't seem like they would put him in if they've done. That's something you can't really hide for that long.
Other journalists were saying that they had reached out to that anonymous account and asked, like, "Hey, what's your source?" Especially when he wasn't allowed to post for a few days, and they're like, and he gave those other journalists his sources, and like those other journalists verified. From my understanding, I forget. I wish I remember.
No, I saw Ian post about it, but then he retracted it. I know
Crossland?
Ian Carroll. No, not Ian Carroll.
Make America Great, Ian Crossland.
But now they're running with the headline that this was Russian disinformation. And again, as independent media, we got to be better than the corporate media. This latest, I don't know if you've seen this latest article by The Atlantic, but everyone is, of course, talking about it. The Atlantic also has some very interesting ties to, individuals like Miss Maxwell there that are hanging out with Lauren Powell. Just, chatting it up, hanging out, as of course she's connected to The Atlantic that now wrote this big piece that, of course, everyone is talking about in the corporate media, along with, of course, the latest comments from John Kelly, a member of the previous Trump administration, as this larger kind of attack on Donald Trump is very interesting. It's very fascinating to see at this particular juncture because I don't know about you, Mike, but it definitely does seem like the corporate media is trying to rile people up. It's trying to make them become more of extremists. It's It's trying to hyperbolically and emotionally manipulate them so they believe that we are literally going to be reliving the 1930s again. And I don't see this as an accident. I see this as a kind of deliberate provocation of the American public to prepare them for chaos after November 5th.
World's dumbest blob op. This is ridiculous. This is the Atlantic. The Atlantic is the toilet paper that the CIA uses to wipe its butt with. And then it just basically, or it's more like the trash can in the toilet when the toilet is clogged that you would put such disposables in. That's what it is. It is just like when dumb CIA rumor mill disinfo is being processed by the small intestine, it gets squeezed out through the butthole of the Atlantic. That's all it is. It's Ann Applebaum on the who's the marquee Pulitzer Prizing staff writer there. Yeah, okay, she's a board member of the National Endowment for Democracy, which was set up in 1983 by the CIA in a letter to the Justice Department to get back the Black Ops power over propaganda that they lost in the Church Committee hearing and with Carter. That's all it is. That's literally what it is. And Ann Applebaum herself was busted in the Integrity Initiative as part of the Inner UK Cluster Cell, as part of the British intelligence clandestine censorship operation, where in their own orientation papers, they told everyone to be helpfully uninformative about their sources of funding and to try to recruit influential people from business, from military, from journalism, from government, from regulatory and culture into these inner cluster cells that would be able to swing news cycles in a highly coordinated way. Every single person amplifying this story in the first pass of it was either CIA, FBI, counterintelligence, DOD, or state. Hey, guess what? That's the inner sanctum of the foreign policy establishment. The whole thing, it's the thing that I think is so hilarious about this is this comes on the heels of like 6 months of concerted effort of this exact same crew of dirty job blob operatives saying that we need to ban rumors. We need rumor control at FEMA. We need rumor control at CISA. We need rumor control at state. Rumors, because we can't distinguish between mis and disinformation. So we should just short circuit any news cycle that appears anywhere on the internet if it's an unsubstantiated rumor. Well, guess what? I would take 2 anonymous sources recycling 8-year-old Trump Hitler. That's a rumor. Okay, guess what? By your own standard, you should be deplatformed, demonetized, and frankly, you shouldn't be allowed to have any of our pizza.
Yeah, they live off rumors. If it wasn't for rumors, they wouldn't exist.
Amen.
If it wasn't for fake news and disinformation, as Lawrence steals the pizza there.
Do you want to slice? Luke, did you want to slice?
I'm okay. I'm totally fine there. But no, truly, this is just a larger kind of example of how desperate, of how absolutely unhinged and how insane a lot of these people are. And most importantly, just how dumb they think you are for, of course, thinking that this is going to be something that people take seriously. Now, there are some people that do take it seriously. There are some people that are convinced by this, but the people who are paying attention, this is a dangerous gambit that they kind of play here, because the more that they double down on their lies, the more they also face the possibility of awakening people, because the more you kind of play with this larger kind of propaganda, the larger you expose yourself for people finding out who you really are, and then understanding that there's larger kind of scams, psyops, and operations being run against you that, of course, are meant to prey on your ignorance.
They're desperate. I mean, I think you agree with this, Mike. I mean, it's a last ditch effort. You see the poly market. You see the polls, right? They needed to do something. They don't have anything else to do.
I'm imagining like the CIA writers' room on this. It's like one of these Transformers movies, except it's the same plot, but they don't even have better explosions. We've already been through this how many times? Remember when Trump was keeping books of Hitler quotes by his bedside? And it was...
That was a mysuperchat.com.
Oh, okay.
Super chat that came in.
No, like how many permutations of this movie, Trump, Hitler, can we see? This was 2015 stuff. It's like they were sitting around a room like, we really don't have anything.
Yeah.
Well, what if we just run that? Everyone's seen that movie. Yeah, I know, but we need something. I know, we've already seen this stuff. So now they're just funneling it through, what is it, Mark Kelly? By the way, can we do a...
John Kelly.
John Kelly, yeah, thanks. Mark Kelly's the last one. Can we do a physiognomy check on this guy, by the way? Would this face ever lie to you?
Yeah, he looks like such a trustworthy bureaucrat. And, he looks like your next door neighbor that, of course, probably hasn't assassinated anyone or done any kind of covert ops at all.
That guy's got some skeletons in his closet, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like a Bond villain.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, it's like resting liar's face. It's a permanent arched inverted brow with the eyebrow. It's like the face has just endured centuries or millennia of like collective sociopathic liars given high-level national security clearances to lie to the American people and the rest of the world about what he's actually doing at DOD. This was the same snake who got fired. This is the same guy who, by the way, was the one who pushed through the executive order that nationalized our elections and gave rise to CISA. This is a bad hombre. And frankly, if you were to AI generate the least trustworthy face in human history, this is top 5.
I would absolutely agree. It looks like he likes lying. It looks like he just gets off of it. And you could really see someone's face and eyes, most importantly, and then really get a kind of larger determining factor of who he is. As, of course, I think he represents the perfect kind of swamp monster that, sadly, Donald Trump surrounded himself with in his previous administration. I mean, you look at the guy, absolutely just the type of guy you would expect in a movie to literally play the villain.
He's been a miserable guy his whole life. I mean, you can tell by looking at him. I agree with Mike and you, Luke. The guy's, probably this is his only attention he's ever going to get. He's looking out. He's crying out for attention. He's miserable in his personal life. They came to him. We need a story. He's like the perfect guy. He's like, he probably volunteered. And he's just making up stuff out of thin air. I mean, it's really pathetic on what they're doing, and it's.
I'm also expecting and predicting now a larger kind of psyop against Joe Rogan. I think they're going to resurface all the horrible things that were ever said about Joe Rogan, and they're going to be preparing all of that propaganda, maybe with some new stuff. Maybe they'll mix some stuff in, but there's going to be a full-on... There's probably, Mike, I don't know if you would agree with me or disagree with me, there's probably a full-on operational team meeting right now in the depths of the Pentagon being like, what are we going to do to counter Joe Rogan having Donald Trump on the podcast right now? Because you look at the little rumblings from the corporate media, they are already calling him the worst person ever as they detail how Trump has canceled some of his events to be on the Joe Rogan podcast. This, to me, is going to be a meltdown of the corporate media that is going to be responding to this in an absolutely crazy, unhinged way.
They gave McDonald's E. coli the day after Trump went there. What do you think they're going to do to Rogan? But this is so stupid of them to do this with this timing because Rogan hasn't interviewed Trump yet. And I think that the sort of vibe of it was that he was going to try to take a somewhat adversarial tone in order to hedge politically. But if you look at his X account, he actually retweeted that article, or the Joe Rogan Experience official account did. Like, it's very clear they are paying attention to this, and I feel like it's going to radicalize them for Trump in the way that the Andrew Schultz interview did. Andrew Schultz wanted to interview Kamala. She declined, so he just had Trump, and he was neutral during it. But then, they got along well, but afterwards, his show got canceled, and it was very clear that it affected him personally, and he felt that same sympathy with the martyred class that I think brought so many of us into this movement.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was so smart for Trump to kind of leak that he was going to be on the Joe Rogan podcast, because he knew there was going to be a kind of very crazy reaction from the left and the establishment, because they are gearing up for this larger hit against Joe Rogan after this. And we got to understand here, the Joe Rogan podcast isn't a home run for Donald Trump. There's a lot of contention there, specifically around 2021, specifically about a procedure. There was, Donald Trump hitting Joe Rogan after he praised RFK just a couple weeks ago. So we have to understand this interview could go any way, but by Donald Trump leaking it and having the left kind of respond like they are right now, he's kind of guaranteeing more of a kind of easier, more friendly type of interview. Now, Joe Rogan did publicly say he knew that life was way better under Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. He has publicly criticized both candidates. He has criticized Kamala Harris a lot more, but he's also a podcaster that's not known for being very tough. He's not known for grilling people or being angry at people. So either way, I do see Joe Rogan being put in a lot of pressure, and how he will handle it will really be very telling to see the larger pressures that are outside of him.
He invited Kamala on.
Yes, I was wondering about
what
that.
I'm saying is that she can't do an unscripted interview. So that's, I think her team was protecting her because she's invited. Why isn't she going on? if she went on, there wouldn't be these stories, right?
She's desperate. She still might do it. Like there's people
after this Atlantic story.
There's people. There's people with rumor that are spreading the rumors now that she canceled.
She has
but if
to.
you're her
she
and
would
you're
have
that,
to do it.
if you're her and you're that desperate.
But she doesn't have to
go for
Is she going to
broke.
wear the pearl earrings?
You
Is she going to have it? How is she going to do it?
You got to go for that long run.
She's already been proven she can't do anything without a teleprompter or the pearl earrings. So
she can, and she's okay. But
they didn't release the 60 Minutes interview. They edited it down to 20 minutes.
How is she going to go? How is she going to justify going on Call Her Daddy and then be able to explain canceling on Joe Rogan or
I don't think she canceled. If you're Joe Rogan, I don't think you want to do this interview.
No, didn't Joe Rogan extend the invite?
No, Joe invited her.
No,
he has
her,
to. But he has to.
She declined.
It's not that
she
wants
declined.
to. He has to because of the pressure that he's facing.
No, he wanted
fine,
to.
But then
Theo Vaughn invited Theo. I was just watching the JD Vance interview. He invited Walls and he invited Kamala. They both declined.
And the Vaughn interview is great, but what I like the ball's in Kamala's court when it comes to the Joe Rogan interview. How can her team, how can she justify going on a small podcast, or I know it's not small, it's still a large
Call Her Daddy's really big.
It is really big, but compared to Joe Rogan,
it's one of the bigger ones. I mean, Rogan's the top, but she that's talking about different, those are softball. He's going to ask more serious stuff about, how she's going to run the country. She's not really asking that. She's talking about like sex and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, how big is it? I had never heard of the Call Her Daddy podcast until Kamala was on it.
I'm pretty sure teenage girls love that stuff.
It's like promoted degeneracy by the establishment.
But
oh, that's terrifying.
Can you imagine like a less receptive setting for Kamala Harris to be in than a Joe Rogan? These are 3-hour, totally unscripted. First of all, Kamala does not do any public speaking appearances whatsoever without a team of 17 White House interns, the chief of staff, David Axelrod, and 25, DNC consultants, plus, McKinsey doing some, outside private consulting thing, and then pre-setting up every single question, working with the editors to cut whatever needs to be cut. She has not had an honest moment in this single campaign, and the entire charm of the Joe Rogan podcast is that is unfiltered, unscripted, nothing's edited out. It's friggin' live. Live Kamala Harris for 3 hours. Have you seen her live for 30 minutes?
She had an earpiece and she had the questions ahead of time, though.
Okay, she keeps the earpiece first of all, and you think Joe Rogan would call her out?
But
like,
it's
hey,
not
can
live.
I try it on your earrings?
Yeah,
she's not
live.
Admit to it. No, it's not live. But he won't edit it. They film it live, and then they don't show it live. But when they release it, he's not going to edit any of it.
And with the debate, there were 3 people on on her side who were doing most of the debate for her. Arguing over the FBI crime statistics and all this stuff. That was Trump versus David Muir, and with her talking in like 45-second platitude sound bites that are all totally pre-rehearsed because this one's on foreign policy, and so we say these buzzwords on foreign. There's no real-time back and forth on that. In fact, they changed the rules to make sure that sort of thing can't happen.
Maria Shriver, you saw that when she was in the town hall. Someone asked, "Can I ask a question?" They're like, "No, these are all pre-scripted." Did you see that with the last town hall with Kamala?
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's the same thing with the local radio stations in Detroit. It's the same thing as you mentioned with 60 Minutes. But the whole magic of the Rogan experience is that it sort of reveals the person for who they really are. Because you can escape yourself for 3 minutes or for 10 minutes or maybe for 20 or 30. You can't escape yourself for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And
if they decide to do 3 hours, that's the question.
Right. But part of it is the Rogan opportunity here, I think, is to give a permission slip to people who are on the fence about the social consequences, because they're still allowed in polite society. They're still allowed, to be good, upstanding members of the Joe Rogan community voting for Trump because Rogan himself has platformed him. I think that's sort of the mobilization here, is people who are sort of Trump curious or on the fence, or they're sort of sitting this one out, and then they see Rogan and Trump get along, and they're like, you know what, actually, that's the club I want to be in.
Yeah, I think RFK Jr., other than Rogan, made the biggest impact on Donald Trump. And if you look at a lot of the people who were kind of undecided, it really was the RFK Jr. endorsement that played a major role in all of this. And we saw it kind of bubbling behind the scenes with specifically after the first attempted assassination of Donald Trump. We saw the two get on a very long phone call, discuss a lot of particular matters. And the way that they did it, the way that they were able to, of course, galvanize this larger moment and get people who were in the middle, get people who were kind of, not trustful of the establishment to kind of take a look at all of this and start a larger conversation about health, I thought was absolutely brilliant, and I thought was the major kind of game changer when it comes to this election. But we got breaking news from Breaking 911. We have the Seattle Storm that just endorsed Kamala Harris for president. Do you guys know who the Seattle Storm are?
No. WNBA?
I can't believe you knew that.
Why would you care?
I was going to make a joke, be like, no one knew. You knew.
I mean, it sounds like a corny. I mean, because I know other professional sports. And I've never heard that name, so I just kind of figured it out.
Robbie loves watching women run too.
Can you do that?
Just not run for office.
I've never heard of a sports team endorsing a presidential candidate.
Yeah, well, they did it, and this could be what moves the needle in no direction at all.
Well, Maxim magazine endorsed Trump,
as of course.
But magazines do all that. I've never heard of the build-up. Maybe it's because it's not a sport. It's not like, maybe,
that's true.
Maybe
it's money that if they lose money. The WNBA lost a lot of money this year. It's not a successful sport.
I agree, Mike. The WNBA is not a real sport. They just had their finals, and the only reason I knew about it is because the potato head on CNN. What's his name?
Stelter, Brian Stelter.
Stelter was like, this is such a great game. and I got banned by him.
Of course
and
you
blocked
did.
by him because I kept posting the meme like, see, no one cares. his tweet got 0 engagement on it. And I was watching clips of this WNBA game. It was absolutely horrible. The WNBA getting involved here just shows you just how kind of desperate and ridiculous they are. We got a lot of other celebrities that we're going to be talking about in a little bit, specifically Eminem, specifically Usher, specifically Ashton Kutcher. There's a lot of deep things happening behind the scenes that are definitely worth talking about, especially after the Ancrabian Fitch larger indictment that also happened to someone connected to, of course, Mr. Epstein. But again, a lot of the black community isn't falling for Kamala Harris. There was this very interesting news segment on MSNBC that highlighted a lot of this distrust that I think is worth looking at when you see the kind of larger sentiment of the average American out there that really pissed off MSNBC that aired this on their own network.
And I just wonder for anybody who heard that, like what they thought of that.
I was deeply offended. And it felt like a moment where it's like, you N-words better get in line and do what we say. And it felt like him as the czar of the Democratic Party coming down to say, go get these N-words in line. And the general tone of it was disgusting. It was abhorrent. I don't respect it. I didn't like nothing about it. And Kamala, 2 days after that, is like, we love our black men. We have programs and things that we're rolling out for them, and she rolled out policy.
Good cop, bad cop. Because
I'm tired of the good cop, bad cop. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people aren't falling for the crap, as he was specifically bringing up the latest kind of very desperate comments by Barack Obama, the former president of the United States, that was shaming black men for not going along with Kamala Harris.
That was ugly.
Yeah, that was pretty eye-opening, as of course he is out campaigning more than Kamala out there now. He's the one introducing Eminem. He's the one that they're trying to put forward in front of everybody because of just how absolutely awful and horrendous Kamala is.
Yeah, he's usually the ringer. Like, for instance, when Joe Biden was running, he was Basement Joe, and they would have, Obama out there, and you could tell he wasn't stoked about having to support Joe, but, they were like, he was like, remember me? You guys like me, vote for, essentially me again, except for whiter and older. And people are like, okay, fine, whatever. It's going to be the same policies. And I like Obama, so therefore I'm going to vote for this old Joe guy. But he lost his magic. He looks terrible. He sounded even worse. He was offensive. If I were black, I'd be, especially a black male, I'd be deeply offended by a lot of what he said. And I was really appalled. It was shocking, honestly.
I don't think they've done anything. I mean, Obama was in office. What did he do for black people? What did Joe Biden do? I think people are waking up.
He bombed a lot of brown children in the Middle East. He was really good at that he personally signed off on with his deposition matrix. So yeah,
these people literally vote for war, and they have no clue what they're doing. It's so sad. These people are voting the Liberal Party. They're voting for Kamala. They have no idea they're voting for war. It's disgusting.
And you know what would be so funny is what would happen if for a second the base decided not to do that. I mean, how fast they would. You guys remember when the Cubans turned out for Trump, and then the whole blob media apparatus was trying to argue that Cubans should not be counted as Hispanic. Yeah. They're like trying to like excommunicate them racially because like we can't just say Hispanic anymore because the Cubans are like all in for Trump.
Is that when Biden walked out with Despacito on his phone?
Yes, that's really right. Yeah, that's in my head.
No, but they just hosted a Latino summit for Donald Trump down here in Miami. There's caravans of Trump supporters that are literally going all around the city in Little Havana with Trump flags all over the place. If you're free, there's probably going to be another one this weekend. If you want to come out to that, I think that'd be awesome to check out.
I was in Little Havana at a random bar, and there was a Pepe the Frog on like the beer like freezer there. I was like, wow.
The Cubans here are absolutely awesome, and I definitely resonate with their kind of larger distrust of centralized systems and communism. But I remember being in, what's that restaurant that everyone goes to? Versailles down here in Miami, and I'm just kind of hanging out there randomly. It's just a truck pulling up, honking their horn with huge speakers on it saying, vote for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's going to help you and save you and do all this other stuff. And to me, especially with some of the numbers that are coming out now with early voting, it is highlighting how Miami will go pretty red.
Who was your Cuban friend that we hung out with this weekend?
Kiel.
Yeah, Kiel. Yeah, she was a lovely girl. She is a proponent against communism, and she talks about communism, and she talks about Cuba, and she talks about all the Cubans. They're aware, and now recently the Venezuelans, they're aware about how bad communism is. But the rest of Latin America is really heading straight for that pitfall, and before they're there, a lot of I would imagine the Mexican Americans or the other Latin Americans who aren't Cuban or Venezuelan, they would also be in support of some of those communistic, socialistic ideologies, and that's why a lot of them are more liberal. But then you have the ones that have woken up, and they are absolutely, not only are they pro-Trump, they're Trump fanatics in a way that is inspiring because they have experienced the worst of the worst. Similar to I have an aunt. She escaped communist China. She's Chinese. She married into the family, obviously, married my uncle. And she is just such a huge Trump fanatic because she lived through communism. She lived through starving. She lived through killing the bugs and then killing the birds and then watching all of the food. You had to catch the bugs, turn the bugs over so that they could disperse the bugs evenly to eat them. And then once all of the bugs died, then the birds started falling from the sky because there was no food left for the birds to eat. And so then they started, it was just a horrible story. But the point being is people who have lived through that are Trump fanatics. And so it's great seeing Little Havana, rally for Trump.
The people who've been through communism, like the stories that I have from my family members are absolutely insane with what they had to go through in Poland. But we're going to continue this conversation. There's still a lot of other things to talk about, especially the weird celebrity endorsements of Kamala. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more on the next platform. Before going over there, we are still looking for a caller. That caller could be you. Sign up to lukeunfiltered.com and then let me know that you want to call in. If you're a member, go into the Telegram and we will be going to you there. Before leaving this platform, we want to tell you about wearechange.shop. This is a way to support our independent media organization. These are our own products. These are products that I personally take, that I personally like, that I think will help you on your own independent health journey. As of course, you should be taking control of your health, and you should do what's best for you every single day. That's why you should check out wearechange.shop. We're here to help you, and we're here to help you find balance and boost your well-being naturally. Whether you're looking to manage stress, support your heart, or improve sleep, we've got you covered.
You can start with the Chill Pill, our ashwagandha supplement designed to help you stay calm, focused, and resilient, even on the toughest days. There's also the Essential Fatty, which is the omega-3 fish oil, and it's really good for your heart, your brain, and your overall vitality. And my favorite is the magnesium glycinate because it's really good for women as well. So that helps for soothing your muscles, promoting relaxation, and it's really good when you take it like right before bed.
So yeah, check out wearechange.shop and support us as an independent media organization, right, Atlas? Thank you very much for telling everyone to go to wearechange.shop and support us. Before moving over, Mike, where can people find out more information about you as we leave these centralized technocratic gulag digital states that we are all in right now?
At Mike Ben Cyber on X.
Nice. Lauren?
Yeah, I kind of forget. I changed all of my social media handles. It used to be Lauren De Laguna, but now it's, I think, the De Laguna Show with Lauren Hayden. Lauren Hayden being my real name,
De Laguna.
Luke.
Short De Laguna.
I think we need to have a pill to break free of the matrix to get us unprogrammed from all of the mainstream media. If you can develop one, I would think that'd be amazing.
It starts with weightlifting, Robbie. It starts with exercising.
That's why Essential Fatty's on there. You gotta,
you gotta get the fish oils. You gotta mix out the omega-6s and the seed oils with omega-3s.
Turn off the mainstream media. Come to us. Love thy neighbor. Even though Lauren disagrees with loving thy neighbor, I think we should love thy neighbor.
I don't disagree.
If you want to
with
come
that.
check out some of the interviews I'm doing, it's Robbie Man with an I, ROBBIEMANN on Instagram, and the Robbie Man on Twitter. Mike's the man. Lauren's a top lawyer. Luke is an amazing podcaster. This is a little angel right here. We're moving to Rumble. Let's go, baby. We're excited here.
Super excited to move over to
camera.
Yeah. Anyways, this is Steph WRC, and now I post on X. So go follow me there and listen to what I write.
All right, we're now officially moving over. It looks like we have a Finboy Slick edit, which we always deeply appreciate. I think we also have another super chat. We're going to read that over on thebestpoliticalshow.com. You tell him, Atlas. The best political show. Right, Atlas? Atlas, say it again. Good job. Yes, thebestpoliticalshow.com. There you go. There you go. Relax. Okay, calm down now. See you over there.